Hey there, Gemini, and welcome back to Bon Echo Tarot. I am here with your very special Gemini-only reading. Hopefully, you have taken a look at my Global Village report for February. If you haven't, the link, I believe, is up here. There we go. And so I would advise that you check that out at some point. Only because it gives you a perspective on what everybody's going through, because the aspects that we have coming in for February are going to be huge. And, you know, I didn't do a count or anything, but it's like most of the zodiac is going through a significant existential crisis. So, and for you, well, you know, it's definitely, you know, in that neighborhood. So you already are likely feeling a lot of the energies that that the stellium in Aquarius, which is the first thing I'm going to talk about, is going to be, you know, bringing to you for the next 2 years. Now, all of these planets are not going to stay in Aquarius, but at least 3 of them for a good portion of, well, 2 of them for the next year to 2 years. So for you, Gemini, all of this activity in Aquarius is hitting your 9th house, which is your house of philosophy and travel. So you could be getting the itch to travel and just wanting to, you know, change things up in a really big way. But of course, with the restrictions that everyone is finding themselves in, you may be finding this very challenging. So, so the second thing that we're going to talk about is, in amongst all of these planets that are in Aquarius for February, Mercury is also in Aquarius, and it's also retrograde for pretty much the entire month. So it goes direct, it turns direct around the 20th, but our most tense time is going to be in between like the 14th, 15th, through until about the 22nd. The peak day, I'll get to in a minute. Let's just stick with Mercury retrograde in Aquarius for now. So again, this is happening in your 9th house. Now, when we talk about philosophy, we're also talking about what our personal truths are. So it's your personal philosophy in terms of your relationship to the world, as opposed to your 2nd house, which is your values or your inner soul code. So, you know, you may be also wanting to pursue some higher learning. You may want to get more education into your life. You're reevaluating pretty much your entire belief system. And, you know, in terms of the big picture of everything, you're purging a lot of dogma that's been restricting you. So remember to be kind to yourself, because as we deconstruct the way that we think about ourselves in the world, it can be pretty exhausting. And so this is another reason why I put as the title, "Stay in Your Bubble," because all of us kind of have to retreat. And so even though Mercury retrograde is not in your sign this time, it will be in the summer. So again, you can check that that global village report to see what that's all about. So let's go straight to this Saturn square Uranus on February 17th. That's the doozy day of the month. That's the one you want to mark in your calendar. You know, this is where your philosophies and your personal truth are actually going to be squared to your 12th house, which is the house of your subconscious, self-sabotage, secrets. It's the deepest inner part of you. You know, that's the house that forces you into that dark night of the soul. So, so what this next, you know, this particular thing happens another 2 times as well as Mercury retrograde this year. And those dates are also in the other video. But this is really launching a 1 to 2 year period where you're really going to be looking at this. very, very closely, looking at your subconscious patterns around things. And then just kind of taking a look at Mars along with Uranus in Taurus and its effect on you in the 12th house. You know, this is where, because Uranus is actually Aquarius's ruler, but its characteristics are about rebellion, surprises, lightning, that kind of thing. So you may be experiencing over these next 2 months some upsets that really kind of trigger your innermost wounds and possibly get into your anger and rage places. So, you know, if you don't have a therapist, you may want to, you know, look into that this month to help to excavate some of those deeper subconscious issues that you're wrestling with at this time. Really, really good time for therapy, like really good time. So in terms of the lighter stuff, ironically enough, with all of this planetary activity, the moon is actually giving us some glimpses of time where it's a little bit lighter, which is kind of ironic. But because usually the moons can be a trigger point for a lot of things. And there are definitely aspects lingering. I mean, I could go on for 3 hours and go on with research for infinite amount of time to get all of the details that are coinciding. But this is just kind of the short notes, you know. So, so the new moon in Aquarius on February 11th, so just prior to all this tension, this is where, you know, you're going to be inspired by that ninth house dynamic, where your philosophy and wanting to enrich it with some more knowledge and to bring up a greater sense of purpose to your life as well. And then when the full moon in Virgo comes at the end of the month after all of that tension, basically you're going to be realizing that your home is really the reflection of who you are, and that your family and your community are actually there to help you thrive. You may have lost sight of that, and so you'll be reminded of how important those things are to you after the shakeups of these other volatile aspects. One of the other things that you're going to feel too, you know, kind of around all of this ninth house stuff, is this push-pull tension between your desires to travel and to pursue this higher knowledge, and also your relationships that are anchored in something, you know, tangible in the current world that you live in. So there's going to be a lot of deliberation going on, a lot of thinking in your head, and a whole lot of thinking going on. Maybe that's what I will entitle your video. Whole lot of thinking going on. So, but you know, that's all in a day's work for Gemini, right? So let's hop into the cards and see what they have to say. And yeah, I'll make sure that I don't forget to pull some cards like I did for Taurus. Jeez, that was like, what? And oh, yeah, so who's in their head, Gemini? Somebody's got some anxiety, some sleepless nights going on. And here's the thing, when you get all whipped up into that, you start losing opportunities. So, you know, finding ways to ground yourself, and if you really are starting to feel like things are unraveling, oh, Gemini, your first card, 10 of Swords. Well, here's the good thing about the 10 of Swords, is that it doesn't go to 11. 10, that's it. Doesn't go any higher. So it can't get any worse. And if you can see, this is the end of the dark night of the soul, because the sun is rising, you know? And you can't get more skewered than you are, you know? It's like, it's the end of pain as opposed to the beginning, you know? Oh, ooh, ooh, Gemini. You got the Devil is your obstacle, sweetie. Oh my goodness. Okay. So you could be dealing with, well, you're definitely fighting your demons. You know, you could be dealing with addiction, you know, and that's okay. And again, you know, this may be the time to reach out for help with these things. Got the Page of Cups on the bottom. So that's either an offer of love that has some substance or an apology that also has substance. In the past position, we have the Eight of Cups. So it's possible that someone walked away and turned their back to move right along. We got the Nine of Cups, which can be definitely the wish come true card, but it can also be overindulgence. So if substance abuse issues, I'm seeing a lot of cups here, so if there's some alcohol involved in your situation, you know, then it's obvious the kind of work that needs to be done. If there isn't alcohol involved in this, it could just be, there could also be a Capricorn involved in your situation, who is an obstacle to you that may have betrayed you. And it could also be just a relationship that is super toxic, that that has caused you a lot of pain, that has kind of come to its end. Like it's, you know, it's like beating a dead horse. There's something cyclical about this. The Hermit. There could be a Virgo in your world, or, you know, everything that's happening is leading you towards this particular place, the Hermit, which is providing you an opportunity to gain wisdom that you can actually help others and light the way for others. You know, a lot of the times that can happen, you know, especially if there's substance abuse issues going on in here, any sort of toxic behavior. If you come to some revelation about it all, then you can be an example for others who have walked down the same path. And here's what I keep saying. We're all crossing the threshold into Aquarius together. There is no other way. So some of us are kicking and screaming, and others are going with the program. And that's the choice you have to make. You are in love. So, yeah, there's the Two of Cups. That is the most pure card, like, that represents an equal and balanced love between two people. And it's in your home. You know? Interesting. Tower in your hopes and fears. So, the Empress. So there could be a Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, Scorpio. Those are the signs that you could be dealing with. But the end is the Empress, the Taurus, or the Libra, actually, because Venus rules both Taurus and Libra. This also could, you know, the Empress can be a mother figure. The Empress can represent abundance. So no matter how you cut it, your end game on this deal is great. Okay? So what are the energies underneath? Well, look at that. So here's the deal. When a lot of the times, if we've gone through a tremendous trial of some sort and we've passed through it as gracefully as we possibly could have, then we get rewarded with abundance, you know, because, you know, or love, a new love kind of situation. This is also something that, you know, where it's important for you to love yourself, because if you haven't figured out how to love yourself, then how is somebody else going to love you? And how are you going to recognize that they love you? You know, these are all very important questions. But you're tired of this. You're tired of whatever cyclical game you've been running. And you've got, you know, this is a Taurus card right here. And it's about balance, but it doesn't have to be equal. Balance isn't always equal. It depends on the circumstances, but this has been a burden for you, you know, and it's really important that you lean more into this over the course of February than into this. Do you feel me? So, the devil is your obstacle. It could be the lies that you tell yourself about you. You know, in a lot of ways, others can't betray us unless we've betrayed ourselves. So it's also possible too, Gemini, that you're anticipating a tower moment that is not going to happen. You could be so used to this dynamic in your life, this betrayal dynamic, that it's like you're telling yourself, no, it's the same as it's always been. It's the same as it's always been. It's never going to change. But then something pops up. And it's really loving and it's small. It's just really, really small. But it's so meaningful. You know, the fish is in the cup. There's something in there. That is not an empty cup. So whatever is coming towards you is genuine and authentic. But in the past, when you've walked away from things, you know, maybe you've gone and you've escaped and you've stayed, you know, the wise one for all your friends. But whatever relationship it is you're worried about, it's like I get the feeling just from the cards here that it doesn't matter what self-fulfilling prophecy your subconscious mind might want to be creating out of this is completely wrong. Completely wrong. It's not going to be the tower. It's going to be the Empress. You know? So March, I think, is going to be pretty good for you. Yeah, and a whole lot of thinking going on. Yeah, stop thinking, Gemini. Just stop thinking. Let's get a little clarity on these cards and see what else we can come up with. Boom. Strength. You might have a Leo who is maybe a part of this pattern. Or, you know, the self-betrayal is because you, up until now, haven't been able to get control over the lower nature, the lower animal nature. And now you're actually finding the strength. There we go. Okay. Now you're finding the strength to strengthen your connection with the divine. And, you know, you see the infinite possibilities. Once you get out of your head, you know? That these betrayals are making you stronger. King of Pentacles. You could be dealing with a Capricorn. There could be a Capricorn around you. Or there's someone like really stodgy, you know, like stiff, immovable, and highly attached, like rooted, you know, like. And I think that that's what may be causing the tension, is that there may be a partner, or there may be a type of partner that you end up tying yourself to that denies you your, at least your feelings of freedom to go off and explore when the urge comes. So is it you or is it them that's holding you back, right? So this offer, this apology, this genuine exchange could be coming from a Sagittarius or another fire sign, Leo, Sagittarius, Aries. Someone who's like, who you find very attractive, and you know, and they're empowered too. So they, you know, it could be like, I mean, the energy between the Queen of Wands and the King of Pentacles, like there's no comparison. You know, the Queen of Wands is clear, like everything's tidy, and she has a cat, and you know, and she's looking forward. She's she has clarity, but she's also really inspired, and that's the kind of situation, you know, that really speaks to you. But you may not feel worthy of that kind of connection. So in the past, you may have had plans that you actually had to turn your back on. Yeah, and because of that, you know, that's all you're really focusing on, is what you had to give up for something, when you're not really seeing the divine opportunities, you know, that are being presented to you. They're subtle little messages that the universe wants to send to you. In the past, you haven't really been in the headspace to receive them, you know, because you've been thinking. Aha! So, Gemini, wish coming true, I think, is what this card is representing in terms of lovers. Theoretically, you may not be with this person right now, you know, but they may be someone that that you could create a home with, you know, because, you know, with this and the lovers and the Nine of Cups, I'm thinking that if you think that a situation is gone or you've lost hope, it's quite possible that this could turn into a situation where you end up living together, you know? So let's see what the Hermit is. So, you know, February may be a timeout, you know, for you to get some perspective on what it is, or for you to think too much. You know, you're gonna, you know, you may not like being alone, because you're alone with your thoughts. But, you know, it's going to be that delicate balance of, is this thinking that's moving me in a new direction from my perspective? Is it shifting me around? I think it just might be. There's a gesture. There's some kind of very, very, very subtle gesture that's either happened, that's tweaked something for you, or is just about to happen. But it's going to kind of jar you out of this line of thinking that you're on. And you're going to start moving forward towards this person. So let's take a look at the Two of Cups. Get some clarity on what's going on there. Oh my goodness. I wonder if there, you may have a Taurus, because Taurus had this one. Yeah, you don't see it. It's right there. Gemini, it's right there. It's right in front of you. Your job is to take the blindfold off. But that may take some doing. And in this pursuit of higher knowledge, you may actually, if you get on the internet and it's like there's a subject that you haven't, thought of before, and you start researching it and you start going down that road, it may, spark inspiration for other things. And look at that. So it's possible you could be dealing with a Leo. So let's get another card on that. Yeah. See, this is the thing. As soon as you let the thoughts go, as soon as you get out of your head, stop thinking, then you're going to see the love that's right in front of you. It's going to make you happy. And you're going to be able to actually go into the future. There we go. Free and clear. But as with most of the signs right now, this period of time is really about closure. I mean, we've been doing kind of stages of closure, working up to this threshold into the age of Aquarius. But this really is it. It's like, this is the gate. There are certain things that just will not pass through this gate. And so, like negative thinking is one of them. Pessimism, defeatism, all of that kind of stuff. Bye-bye. Aquarius will not put up with that. And Aquarius is a fellow air sign. So, they're your friend, your brothers in arms. So you feeling this sense of home is a sense of justice for all of the pain and betrayal, and for being able to open your mind enough to see past your own patterns. And look at what you get. You get a brilliant home life and a fresh new start. And that's the justice for you. So just because I have to, I'm going to clarify the Tower. It's like there's something, you're going to go through some grief. And, you may associate grief emotions with when your world has completely blown apart. So the trick might be this time, Gemini, is to trust that, crisis can occur in your life without everything falling apart. That you can have an argument with someone and recover from it. You can be caught up in your own fears and still find redemption afterwards and find that they were completely unfounded. So this is what your inner, philosopher, these are the kinds of questions that are going to be coming to you through this process. And look at that. Clarity. Once you find clarity, you're going to be reconnected with your most abundant self. And you'll be able to proceed. So, as I told Taurus, and I guess I'm going to tell everybody, don't let February spook you, okay? Think about it as getting the worst of the year over with. I can't imagine. We're going to have some interesting aspects for the rest of the year, no question. Okay? But overall, I think that this February is going to be the most intense. And then we'll be able to, now we're going to have new tools to deal with the new dynamic that everybody is struggling to integrate. So, I'm going to push all those cards over there. And I'm going to bring in my lighter deck, my Oracle of E. This is a fun one. So what do we have for Gemini with the Oracle of E today? Nope, not that one. Okay. Where is it? Ah, there we go. Bazinga. So, yeah, as kind of confusing as that reading was for me, I'm trusting it's going to make sense to you. If it does resonate, can you please remember to hit like, subscribe, hit the bell, all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, and 1 and 9 adds up to 10, so it's a new beginning. Oh, I love it. Look. And then you become your own superhero. I'd say that's a pretty good deal. So, the last cards I'm going to pull for you, Gemini, if you want to go on a real, tear and, realize that maybe you're not 100% responsible for the way you think, you should check out Marshall McLuhan. He created this deck, which is one of my favorites. It's a collector's piece. It's my most prized card deck. And Marshall was great for getting us all to think about how media affects us. Media affects not only the way we think about the world, but how we think about ourselves. So, type his name into Google and go on a nice, fun tear. And, you should find yourself relatively validated. And he'll shake up your perspective. So, how did I put this again? The first card is the energy of your universal experience. So, this is interesting. High rise and mini skirts. The end is in sight, i.e., instant slums. That's the 9 of Hearts, the 9 of Cups. So, a little bit of sexual innuendo. So there could be an overindulgence and that kind of thing too. So that's the energy of your universal experience. What is the advice from your superconscious? New term that I've thrown around here. All right. Ha ha! I love it. You got the Joker. But in Marshall's deck, the Joker has its own message. The clown is the emperor's PR man. Okay? So I'm going to let you interpret that for you. Okay? But Gemini, I am going to be continuing my conversation on this channel to the best of my ability. I've got a whole new setup now. So this is my relaunch into the new energies of Aquarius, and I'm very excited. I have a little side project that you'll notice I have a promo for at the end of this video, and it's basically a new show that I'm calling Boneko and Friends, where me and my friends talk about various nerdy things like the brain, history, philosophy, whatever anybody wants to bring up. So my first show will be airing on YouTube this Sunday night at 8. So stay tuned, check my channel out, subscribe. I got more coming to you. And also there is an extended version that I have posted on my Patreon site, where for a small subscription fee, you can get access not only to your extended reading, but extended readings of all your family and your friends and your crushes and etc., etc. They go back even into the summer. So if you want to go back in time and see if any of these things were relevant to you, I'm probably going to be doing that in the next little while. I'll be saying, hey, you should probably check out this one, because this is when this particular alignment started. And, it may jog your memory and help you gain that much more insight into your own path. So, so promo, previews, right after this. Thanks so much for joining me, Gemini. We'll see you again. Okay, so we've got some issues. Gemini, your main problem is in your situation, the state of your heart does not match your partner. No matter how much you give of yourself, and I think, you're doing your best to let it go in a good way, that honors, the journey or the chapter with someone. For your partner, well, your partner, thinks the sex is great, plain and simple. But there's some codependency going on here. So, this card here, the using card, it's like, you could be quite a catch, Gemini, and this person is kind of like, wrapping their identity up in being your partner. And they're holding on big time. It's a codependency thing, and there's bad attitude, trap again. Oh my goodness, everybody's trying to get out of the trap. Yeah, this is something that's going to bring a lot of hope to your family. But I need you to be careful because again, there may be a snaky person toying with your heart. But when you move on to the new offer, everything is gonna move the way that it's supposed to. But just be careful, be very, make sure you are smarter than the people around you. Do not underestimate anyone around you right now. And keep, your losses to a minimum. Because there's something about this situation that is a bit of a gamble for you. And so you really need to make sure that you're double checking everything, especially now that Mercury is going retrograde. Actually, Mercury will be retrograde for the entire month of February, Gemini. Brace yourself.
Uncle Bob, Robert Anton Wilson, a contemporary to Timothy Leary.
Marshall's like, amen, sister. Amen.
Right?